Alright, listen to this very carefully. This is what I discovered too. I mentioned my neighbor down the street was a drug ring and the cops came, busted it. They have high technology to look through your homes so they know where the plants are for the marijuana, and they pretend to do a drug bust, but they're really there to get the drugs so they can distribute it out on the streets with the drug dealers, and they are in bed with the CIA and the Crown and the Jesuits. So listen to what this guy says.
30 years I've worked on the streets of Vancouver. When I first worked there as a street minister in the 80s, one of the first things you notice is that all the drug dealers were plying their drugs literally right on the front step of the Vancouver Police Department and Main and Hastings Street. And that's because the police are heavy, like in Florida or any major port where there's drugs coming in, the police are all heavily involved in it. That also includes human trafficking. There was a former RCMP Constable, George Brown, who worked in our Missing People's Task Force in downtown Vancouver for many years. George Brown described that all the Mounties know about the murder of Native women by the RCMP. Even Human Rights Watch in New York made a report on this in 2013, saying that the RCMP in Canada are directly involved in the disappearance and murder of Aboriginal women. And that's a fairly mainstream, it's actually run by George Soros with
lizard.
his money.
He's a fucking lizard.
But anyway, even UNH.
George Soros is a goddamn lizard, people. He's reptilian-based, copper-based DNA, part of Lucifer's fucking bloodline. Egyptian bullshit. Fucking George Soros. I repeat, he's a reptilian piece of shit.
Are admitting that the RCMP are implicating these deaths, so it's nothing particularly new. As to why it goes on, how, your question about how these two kids could have happened, it isn't a confined space. The reality is it happens all the time. There's a group in Vancouver called the 12 Mile Club, and they operate out of, the Vancouver Club and various churches along that strip on Burrard Street, where all the churches are, where the Wall Center was, where the Anglicans had their convention. It's all along that area, but it's connected to this 12 Mile Club, which refers to the 12 mile territorial limit. And they literally take women and children and others out beyond the territorial limit, kill them, torture them on boats, and then dump them overboard. And I remember once about over 5 years ago now, I was speaking to a Canadian Coast Guard official, and he talked about how a lot of their money comes from payoffs from the offshore drug importers. A lot of the drugs come through the Indian reservations. The chiefs are all involved. And he joked about how every Friday night the white van would pull up at this dock where they would unload the drugs. And everybody knows about it. It's just part of their business, right, to unload the drugs. Well, they also unload human beings and take human beings away all the time. That's part of the drugs and the arms trade is human trafficking too. So it's a whole huge industry. And it's very easy for two children. Now, these two children, we did learn, were probably Aboriginal. And one of the ones who were sacrificed, they were probably from the Squamish Indian Reservation in North Vancouver. It's a big, the Matthias family, they're the Aboriginal leaders there, brought in by the Catholic Church 100 years ago as the puppet chiefs. They provide these children. It's common knowledge on the reservation, right? So it only seems strange if you're not there. When you're in the midst of it, you realize, it's like asking, well, how can drugs be traded? Well, it's all about money. Same with children. And they've got a lot of protection. Our forces are relatively minimal. We use moral and public pressure. Sometimes we have the help of, people who are trained in that way. But the problem is when they themselves come up against the reality that for every honest cop they try to appeal to, there's one next to them who isn't. And they've got a code of silence like judges. They all cooperate. So, it's that whole dilemma. And until you can get it taken to a higher level, a political level, where you make it very politically embarrassing for these people, it'll keep going on. And that's one of the reasons I'm running in this election, to make all these issues very public.
Yeah. I basically, my point is, I thank you so much for explaining this in greater detail, because of course you understand this and I have learned about this, but for many viewers who are joining us new, this is absolutely, unfathomable. And I guess what I really would like to bring home to people, number one, I completely agree with you that this is happening all the time. And I would also go as far as it's only, the 12-mile club is only something that they use for rich people, where it will really matter if they were implicated. So it's just a safety measure that takes some bother to arrange. But I am of the, strong opinion that we have human sacrifices and torture and murder of women and children happening in all the communities worldwide all the time. So I really think there's entire satanic towns in the US that are known. There's also thousands and hundreds of thousands of people disappearing every year. And what many people...
Yeah, they got this fucking technology. UFO shit, man. Of course they don't miss him. Goddamn lizard family. Fucking Obama, Clinton, Rockefeller. Goddamn lizard families. They eat human people. I'm telling you, the fucking aliens walk among you. Goddamn lizards walk among you.
Realizes that we are surrounded by such a tight surveillance network, it is physically impossible for so many people to disappear unless the police and the intelligence agencies are running it. Basically.
Of course they're fucking running it. They know all about the goddamn technology from the fucking Greys. Goddamn fallen angel shit. People, when the fuck are you gonna wake the fuck up? Time to fucking grow up. Goddamn reptilian archangel fucking Michael. And bullshit religion on the planet. I told you, this is an old fucking war with Lucifer. Piece of shit, sack of shit.
As similar, and also, for example, the 12-mile club, it is physically impossible for a ship to dock.
The fucking number 12 comes from the 12 disciples, and then there's 13. The 13th floor is tied to the Swiss Templars, which is as above, so too below the goddamn Jews. Wake up, fucking people.
A ship to leave the shore without surveillance of it continuously, and if they wanted to, they could keep the ship under surveillance from satellite 24/7. They could exactly tell the moment.
Exactly, they got all these goddamn satellites floating up in the fucking air. All you gotta do, the evidence is on their hard drive. The evidence, again, I repeat, the evidence is on their ISP, hard drive, fucking NSA bullshit, fucking scanning shit, whatever the fuck they got. The evidence is on their hard drives. Gotta confiscate that shit. Go after these motherfuckers.
Body is dumped overboard, should they so wish. They could give us a live broadcast. But the reason why they do not, and this is what I really want to emphasize in this, because it ties directly into you running for office, is because everything that we call counterintelligence or intelligence or the military or, the police, they are one big criminal network.
Exactly.
And their main job, in my view, is...
They're all Bohemian Grove, mud-packing fucking Masons. That's all they are. They go to Bohemian Grove and fucking do their bullshit. Cremation of care crap.
Said drug trafficking, human trafficking, the trafficking of arms, and murder. Cold-blooded murder and its cover-up.
Alright, I gotta cut this shit. Goddamn lizard family. It's today's trash day, boys. Let's go. Trash, trash, trash.